From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production, the NFL Bet Exchange, hosted by my man, Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Jeff Dawson.
What's up? What's up? It is time for the NFL Bet Exchange with your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson. And boy, oh boy, we are ready to rock and roll. Both of us finished up 8-6 last week, identical records. And it was funny because for games I won, Jeff lost, and for games I lost, Jeff won. So it was pretty crazy. And then it seemed like the ones that we came together on, we didn't have the greatest results with those. So, hey, we did get the Jags, though. We'll take the Jags, though. We did call the Jags winning in London. And there it goes. It's my group right there. Yeah. Me and the Lions, Jeff. Me and the Lions, dude. And it was a tale of two. It was a tale of two cities. I didn't start off well, but then when we got to the afternoon, I was able to win the next 4 out of 5 for that portion on the second half. Jeff was a good 7 out of 9 early in the morning, and then winds up having the reverse situation. But we met in the middle because we both had the Titans, and the Titans were able to rock and roll and give all the bettors who watched the Monday show big bang, because I was jumped on the money line as well too at plus 200, and we were able to take care of everybody with the great win over in Nashville. So hey, you know what, feeling good, feeling great. And we got week 7 to jump into, Jeff. And pretty much, how are you feeling today, brother, before we get into this stuff?
Well, it's hard to believe we're at week 7 for the first week, 6 weeks. I think right now we're probably sitting around plus 16, 17, 18 units around that. Again, you talked about the Titans. We gave out the money line at the plus 180. We've given out some great dogs with the money lines. So we're feeling good. But again, I can't stress this enough. Every week in the NFL is a whole different ball game. I mean, you can be the hero one week and the zero the next week. And now you got the bye weeks, you got injuries, you got teams coming off bye weeks. So a lot more to add to the equation. We hope we're ready. We think we are, but only time will tell, pups.
All right. So you know what? And also, once again, well, I haven't been doing great with the dog bet of the week, but I was able to pull in my second winner last week, and that was a good one with the Raiders plus 170. So the AFC West, you've been good to me, brothers. You know what I mean? But it is what it is at the end of the day. Let's go ahead and get into tonight's game, the Thursday night football game. And man, I think that we are in store for a really good one tonight here with the Browns and the Broncos. And a lot of people, you already know, Jeff, you already know where they want to go with this one. Everybody wants to sell the Browns out and say that they're done with them for the rest of the year because both running backs are out. Baker Mayfield's out as well too. But guess what? Juice Landry's getting activated today off the IR. OBJ, I still thinking he's a game time decision, but I think he's good to go as well too, because he knows that it's going to be another quarterback playing tonight as well too, in Case Keenum, who's actually a very good vet to have. He's a Bubby Brister, Brian Greasy type. You know what I mean? He's a guy that can go out there and get you some touchdowns. He can manage some drives. He played in the NFC Championship game as well, too, with Minnesota. Him and Stefanski are tighter than gloves. That's why Case Keenum is in Cleveland for this situation in hand. And I thought that he played really good during the preseason as well, too, Jeff, being able to hold it down and show that if something happens to Baker, he should be able to, be efficient and be good, but he doesn't have the safety valve of Chubb and Hunt. But it's okay because Demetric Felton Jr. is a very versatile player. He can run and catch. And then you have Johnson as well, too, the former he played in that other league, not the XFL, but the other league that they had. I can't remember the name of it right now. But he played in that league, and he was the best running back in that league. He's been with the Browns for the last 2 years. So to me, it's not hard to go with where I'm going. I'm going to go ahead and take the Browns here with the -2. I think the Browns win by 3 or better. And I'm taking the Browns simply because the way they perform on Thursday night football, especially at home, and especially in a spot like this, it seems like every time they get a Thursday night football game against a team they can beat, they wind up beating that team either in dramatic fashion or they just go ahead and beat them by 10 or better. So I'm going to go with that old adage that the Browns are going to perform well on national television at their home, at their house, and get a win here because they do have 3 straight. They already lost 1 at home. You don't want to lose back-to-back games at home, especially when you got to play 3 games in 10 days. So we'll see how it goes, see how it shakes out. But that's where I'm going with this one, Jeff. What are your thoughts? Where are you going with this?
Last week we were in the Circa Millions, a part of our Sunday action parlay. We were all in on the Browns. We had them on the money line part of the parlay. The Browns got murrayed, and it was box to wire, and it was a shellacking. And so, like you said, the on again, off again, it's a trap. No Hunt, no Chubb, no Baker. No problem. I'm going to take the short week. I'm going to take Case Keenum not to make mistakes. I'm going to take the defense to put a lot of pressure on Teddy, and we're taking the Browns in the money line, and we're feeling pretty confident with that, Pops.
All right. So we move on to our next game, and that's going to be the Packers and the Washington football team. Washington football team coming in here heavy favorite, +9.5, +360 money line as well too. Packers -450. Nobody surprised by that as well. You know what? When I look at this game, I'm looking at stats right now. Washington is so bad on defense. But see, the thing is with a team like Washington, where you said the defense was going to be good at the beginning of the season, we're getting to the point to where they're going to start slowing things down a little bit. They're not going to be getting beat as bad, on the defensive end, because what's going to happen is they'll simplify things for the DBs, and eventually Chase Young is going to get loose. And once he gets loose, that's when you can say, okay, Washington, this is the same Washington team that we kind of grew to love last year, but Washington always put themselves in a bad position since the beginning of the year because they didn't go after a feasible quarterback. Nothing's wrong with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I love Ryan Fitzpatrick. But, every time I've looked at Ryan Fitzpatrick throughout his career, because I've been following him since he was in St. Louis, he's a backup, and he's a backup for a reason. He's a very good, manageable guy. But I think he can only hold the fort down for you for so many games. This was shown when he got his big deal in Buffalo, his one time you're going to be the starter deal with the team. I think that Washington failed themselves by not acquiring a quarterback via draft or not going after Cam Newton once he became available. And once they saw that Fitzgerald was going to be out for some time. Heineke I shouldn't say great because great is too big of a word in the NFL. We shouldn't call people great because the great ones go to the Hall of Fame. Tyler Heineke is never going to go to the Hall of Fame. We know this. He's above average at best in a bad quarterback league. You know what I mean? So that's why he looks good, because most backup quarterbacks aren't that feasible. And he is one of those feasible backup quarterbacks. And he does run. He hustles. He's kind of like what the 49ers had with Mullins a few years back. You know what I mean? When Mullins came in, he went to Brett Favre school, blase. And I think that he's a good stopgap quarterback, but he isn't going to be the answer for them. But since Green Bay doesn't have one of the better defenses in the league, in my opinion, they have a defense that can be broken if you figure some things out. I think that Washington takes advantage of that. I don't say that they win the game, Jeff, but I do say that they do cover the +9.5 in this spot. I think that the defense is going to give Rodgers some headaches. Nothing too crazy, but I think they're going to make him work a little bit for this one. And that's why I really do like Washington going into this game. I know that they got a lot going against them because they are coming in on the road, but this is where usually bettors get absolutely crushed because they have this idea this team is going to dominate and they don't. And that's how I'm feeling what's going to happen in this game Sunday. Jeff, thoughts?
Well, I'll give you some potential breaking news. The Deshaun Watson to the Dolphins has Tua going to Washington. This is going to be a part of a 3-team trade. So maybe what they're looking to do is to see what they can get out of Tua for the rest of the year, to see if he is their guy moving forward, or do they jump into the quarterback carousel into the draft. So keep an eye on that moving forward there. As for this game, Pops, I'll be honest with you. I see trap written all over this game. I'm trying to do the quick math in my head. Can the 17, 30 to 17 is a 13 number. So where is the 9.5 coming? 27-17 is at 44. So something has to give here. We took the Packers minus the 9.5, but I honestly think this number is a trap. I really do. And I can see exactly what you're saying. I can see Rodgers giving him one of those ho-hum games. The defense of Green Bay lets him go back and forth. Gibson banged up, but they're starting to lean on McKissick a little more here. And McKissick had a great game last week against the Chiefs. I think this defense sets up great again for McKissick. So what you're saying, I agree with. But we took a shot with the Packers. I don't like it, to be honest with you, but we're going to take the Lambeau leap here, no pun intended, and hope that they can win by double digits.
All right. So we move forward. And let's go ahead and move forward to our next game. This is going to be a good one as well, too. This is going to be the Chiefs and the Titans, and they're going to be in Kansas City for this one. From what I'm seeing here, last time these guys matched up, it was 2019, and the Titans actually wound up winning that game, Jeff, 35-32. And that was their third straight win over Kansas City at that point a few years back. So they're riding a 3-game winning streak against Kansas City coming into this game. So that's something that works pretty good for them. Now, this is something the Chiefs are embarking on a season that they haven't seen in a while. They're 3-3 after 6 weeks in the season. This is their worst start since 2015 when they started the year off 1-5. And I'm guessing that was the year that Patrick Mahomes arrived as well. At the year after was when Patrick Mahomes arrived as well too. So this is different for Mahomes and everybody who's been a part of this team the last few seasons and everything like that. So pretty much, that's what they're kind of keen in on, that they got to get their act together. Now Mahomes threw 2 interceptions last week, and that was the second time in a row he did that, and first time since he did that since 2018. So that's something that the Titans can use in their vanguard. But the Titans secondary is so bad that this could be one of those Mahomes easy pickings games as well too at the same time. Now I said the game's in Kansas City, the game's going to be in Tennessee, so pardon me with that. Now the Titans did run for 146 yards on Monday Night Football. Derrick Henry was absolutely unstoppable in that game. And if I say this, if they can get the same run game going that the Browns got going against the Chiefs, it's going to be ugly, especially with big Derrick Henry. But that's going to be tough to pull off twice, because I always feel like Henry has a big game, and then in the next game they game plan well enough against him to where they keep him at bay. So this game has to be won by Ryan Tannehill, in my opinion. So where I'm going with this one is that I feel like the Chiefs are now getting into the groove, and they need a game where they have to prove to everybody that they're still can beat you down. And I think that this is the game right here. And I like the 5.5 that you're getting on the Chiefs in this spot. And I'm going to take the Chiefs this week as well too. So just know I don't hate the Chiefs. I just don't care for Mahomes as much as y'all do. Okay. All right. That's it. Simple.
I mean, listen, I'm an open and number guy. I'd be all over the Titans if the Titans were getting 2.5, 2, 3. Okay. I just think the 5.5, after what you saw O. Henry do on Monday night, plus 180 for everyone watching to cash that ticket. This is tailor-made for O. Henry. Again, the KC defense can't stop a nosebleed, but the Chiefs are favored by 5.5 for a reason. Basic numbers get you at a 31-24. Do the Chiefs get to 33-34? I'm with you. Listen, no one covers. The Chiefs never cover anymore. Let's be realistic. They don't. But they're laying 5.5 here for a reason. I think you get a letdown from the Titans, believe it or not. I think it'll be close and competitive early. I just think you get a late strike from Mahomes. This lands on 7, 10, somewhere around there. So we're with the Chiefs as well, minus the 5 and a hook. We're taking Mahomes over O. Henry tonight.
Oh, Henry bar. The O. Henry bar. Kids don't know about that one, Jeff. They still sell O. Henry bars. Let me take that back. They still got O. Henry bars. O. Henry, and a lot of people have to understand, O. Henry is the alternative to your Baby Ruth. And there's another candy bar that they don't make anymore as well, too, but that was named after a professional player as well. But you guys just can't get with me and Jeff's childhood. Sorry, man. You know, the fun days before everything was digital and, you know, before you could be a what you call it, you know, before you could be just, I have feelings. We didn't know what feelings were. We were little. We knew the difference between yes and no. You kids, if it's a no, then you're being abused. Let me stay on topic though. I can do this shit. I can do this all day. All right. So where are we at? Okay. So Jeff is on the Chiefs with me as well, too. He bought the hook. We move on to a game that this is what Jeff, you know me. I like to call these under the radar games. These are ones that might not get as much action as the other games because it's a trap on each side. It's a confusion of where to go to. But I would say this though. Atlanta has dropped 5 straight today. Well, I wouldn't even say 5 straight. I think Atlanta's lost their last 9, maybe 9 out of 10 to the AFC because they've been swept a few years in a row by the AFC when they step into that situation playing the AFC. But the Dolphins are in a situation now where a lot of people have turned their back on them. But here goes the all-time series record. The Dolphins are 9-4 all-time against the Falcons, and they're 6-2 at home when playing them in this situation. Okay, so pretty much when you look at it, the last time they won, they beat them 27-23, and then on the road, we all remember that game. That was a big win for Miami because they were a big dog that day. They won 20-17. And this is the type of game where Miami can shake some rust off real quick because Miami's in a bad state right now. You know what I mean? They're questioning the head coach after being in love with the head coach a few seasons back. Now they're ready to kind of move on. But me and Jeff told you guys at the beginning of the season during the summer that, you know, Flores would have to kind of check himself a little bit because by them missing the playoffs last year the way that they did, there's going to be big expectations. And if those expectations aren't met, then we're going to have big issues here because it's Miami. And Miami gets over you fairly quickly. I know. You know what I mean? So pretty much you can be they sweetie one week and then the next week nobody wants you in the room. That's how it works in Miami. Phony fan behavior. That's what it is. That's what I like to call it. You know what I mean? What have you done for me lately? I think the Dolphins need this way more than the Falcons do. Falcons coming back from a long trip, but they had a bye week. But I think that they got to recuperate some things. This game's going to wind up being low scoring as well, too, because the Falcons aren't the same high octane offense that they were when they had the Julio Joneses of the world and the Austin Hoopers of the world. Now those guys are on different teams. So what I'm doing with this one, Jeff, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be a little tricky here. I trust the boy Tua in this spot. I wish Jacoby Brissett was actually the quarterback for this situation, but I think this is a game tailor-made for Tua to look good in, especially with the trade talks happening right now as well too. And I'm taking the Dolphins to go ahead and win this game straight up plus 115. Give it to me. What are you thinking, Jeff?
You know, it's funny because a lot of people are talking again what teams do after a bye week, and you got a team in Atlanta off a bye week coming back from London. If you probably looked at the look-ahead line here, the Dolphins probably would have been favored. They are tail spinning big time. Kind of surprised that Vegas opened up Atlanta, as actually the computer number was Miami -3. Vegas opened up Atlanta -2. Now they're at 2.5. Listen, I'm going to take a swing here with the Dolphins as well. We bought the hook. We're taking the Dolphins up to 3. If they lose, hopefully it's by 3 or less. Going to take one more swing with this. There's a big thing called pride. And Gay's had this team focused for 2 straight years. They're struggling right now. So when you're struggling, you look yourself straight in the mirror, and it's time to grow up. Okay, pull this team together. It's a team that they should be able to beat. They got the defense that can slow these guys down. Ridley's done nothing all year. Okay, slow him down. Okay, and slow down Cordarrelle Patterson. If I cannot believe I'm bringing that name up. I mean, they're making him look like, I don't know, go back to the Dirty Bird. Who is this guy? He's been around the league long enough. He's been on 3, 4, 5 teams, however it is. He's not the next coming to Gale Sayers, but you got to account for him. So Dolphins, show some pride. We took the hook. Dolphins +3. I like where your head is, by the way. I think they can win this game.
All right, so there it is. And we'll go ahead and take our first commercial break. And when we get back, we'll be talking some more NFL football and more early games. I forgot to put the early games graphic up, but yes, these are early games that we're speaking about. So you guys stay tuned. This is the NFL Bet Exchange hosted by the one and only Pop DBICD Primetime Capper and the Don of Cape Cod, Jeff Dawson, and we'll be right back to you.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune into Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. This one's going to be a fun one. Jeff is used to this big rivalry right here, and that's going to be these guys right here, the Jets and the Patriots. And, well, from your team coming out with books and things of that nature, are the Patriots toxic or not? We know the Jets are.
Pops, you go back to week 2, I think the Pats were 5-point favorites in New York. Now they're 7-point favorites at home. Another team coming off a bye week with the Jets. A Patriots team that spilled their guts out last week against Dallas, a game that they had an opportunity not just to cover, but to win. Pats Nation pretty down right now. It's a tough spot for them, Pops. It really is. taking a look at the numbers here, we opened this up at 7. Looking at the actual numbers, we're getting a big public bias on the Patriots, which is to be expected. The numbers are stating a low-scoring game. If you do some quick math here, you're in around that 27-17 range. Do the Jets get to 20? And if so, they should cover. I think the Pats D, who has had trouble stopping some teams lately, we tried to get creative here. We think the Pats can find a way to win. We're hoping it's by 7 or more. We bought the hook here, Pops. So we're going to take a swing with the locals. Pats -6.5, minus the 120 buying the hook.
All right, sorry about that. I'm back. Jeff, you still with me?
I'm here, my brother.
All right. Sorry about that. So sorry about that. All right, so pretty much I'm having some internet issues, so I'm back. I'm here. So pretty much now, pretty much from what I can see here though, I think that this is the type of game where you say to yourself that, hey, you know what? We got to be able to take this game into fruition and say that, the Jets should be in a good place here. You know what I mean? They already played the Patriots this year. They got whooped. We know this, but it's time to get over that and get back. And I always think that the second time around with the Jets, when they play the Patriots, especially after a blowout, it's a much better result for the Jets, not winning, but they keep the game very, very close. And I think that Wilson is getting more comfortable as we move forward. Even though he might have not have had the greatest week, I think the Tennessee game alone showed that the kid's gonna be all right. You know what I mean? He might not be a Hall of Famer or a world beater or anything of that nature, but he's going to be all right. You know what I mean? So I am doing this, Jeff. I'm going to go ahead and take the Jets this week, and I'm going to buy the hook with the +7.5 in this spot. And I think the Jets should be right there in the thick of things in this game because it's just really tough to trust the Patriots. The Patriots are now a middling to below average team in the NFL. And it's just that simple. Yeah, you got Bill Belichick, the third greatest coach of all time behind Paul Brown and Don Shula, but it is what it is at the end of the day. It's the writings on the wall. Bill's in the archaic stages of coaching. And it happens to every single coach. You know what I mean? So it's a countdown to when Josh McDaniels is taking over the Patriots, in my opinion. So there it is, +7.5. I'm just rambling now. Jeff, what's your thoughts?
Again, the numbers don't lie. This is 24-17. Do the Jets get to 20? If the Jets get to anything above 17, they're supposed to cover here. We're going to be proactive here. We're expecting a bounce back. Listen, the Patriots were within, I think, a poor coaching call. Hey, listen, we won the toss. We're not stopping Dallas. We need to go and win this game ourselves. And they decided to punt. The rest is history. We're looking for them to try to get back to 3-4. A loss here puts them to, that puts them to 2-5, 2-4. What are they now? They're 2-4 now. They're 2-5 if they lose. We bought the hook. Hope that they win by 7 or more. Again, it's going to come to the defense. You got to keep the Jets to 17 or less.
Well, it is what it is. My man said that Bill is just like how he was with the Browns. That wasn't that bad with the Browns, though. And people gotta understand the third season when the owner comes in there and tells you you're about to move, and your idea is to coach the Browns, and you say to yourself that I ain't going with you to Baltimore, But as soon as I was looking at something the other day about it, and his grave was already pretty much sealed once he got rid of Bernie Kosar, man. He just didn't understand the kid from Boardman High School in Youngstown was more special to them than him. You know what I mean? Even though he did bring in Testaverde, who was good. Testaverde was good. Let's not play like Testaverde wasn't good. But, you know, he did what he did. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Let's not live in the past. Let's live in the present. Let's move forward. Talk about the Panthers at the Giants. Panthers at the Giants. This is a matchup of the old GM from the Panthers going against his old team. Gettleman, correct? So I think this isn't about the GM though, because he's almost out the door anyway in that situation. I think that we can safely say that Joe Judge should be on the hot seat as well too. Because the thing is, though, he's not performing well as a coach. You know what I mean? I think that he doesn't really have enough respect in that locker room, to be honest with you, Jeff, because he didn't come in with the right mentality. He came in there with a high school coach mentality, and these are grown men you're dealing with. So, you know, that's why I feel like he's on the hot seat, and each week it gets a little worse for him when they lose because they're really not even competing in these games. Like last week with the Rams, that was an absolute they played for about 6 minutes and the game was over after that. As soon as the Rams scored their first touchdown, it was lights out for the Giants. And I think that when you play with a mentality like that, it just borders bad culture. And I think that's exactly what's the problem with the Giants now. It's been there for a while. You know what I mean? It started with the diva stuff with OBJ. They get rid of OBJ, then they kind of violated Eli a little bit with the whole let's bench him before, you know, he's ready. Let's bench him so we can show him that we don't want him on the team anymore. You know, so we can show him that we really, really want him to retire. They played themselves out of a playoff spot, I think, that year because I think Eli was going to be able to get it all back together at some point in the season to get them to where they wanted to be. But they gave up on that situation. So the Giants, to me, are just going through a season, getting beat down. Panthers loses the 3 in a row, but they played really good their last game against Minnesota. That was a game they could have won. They showed some real grit, some real determination. They were able to come back in that game as well, too. These are the things that you do like to see with teams coming into their next game. And I think that the Panthers, even without McCaffrey, they're going to have themselves a very good game because they still have their receivers intact. So I like the Panthers this week with the minus 155. I think the game is close. I think the game is very close, to be honest with you. Because you got two teams where you really can't figure out what they're doing here. You know what I mean? Are the Panthers going to be a team that people had to deal with, or they just had a good first 3 weeks because they played 3 bad teams, or 2 bad teams in a division rival? You know what I mean? Did they just play off of a high? You know what I mean? And then you got the Giants. You just can't trust anything that they're doing right now. If they beat me, they beat me. It is what it is. What are your thoughts?
Now, Giants, again, the MASH unit, no Barkley. Probably, I don't know what's going on with Shepard, Slayton, Ingram banged up, Galladay out. It's just the same thing, not just day-to-day, week-to-week, but it's now year-to-year. No rhyme or reason here on this one. The Panthers, who started out like a ball of fire, have come back to reality, and are the Giants just going through the motions? And I think you're going to start to see a lot of this in the NFC East. Dallas has flexed its muscles. They're going to win this division. They're going to win it comfortably. Now, are the Giants playing for the number 1 pick? They're playing to get Judge fired? I don't know. But we took one more swing like you and the Lions. We're going to take one more swing here. We bought the hook. Giants plus 3.5 minus the 120. The numbers say 23-20. Do the Giants get to 21? Do they get to 24? Do the Panthers get to 24 or 27? We're hoping it's a hard-fought game. We're hoping the Giants' D shows up as well. Devin Booker replacing Barkley, have a good game, win the turnover battle. Giants plus 3.5, Bubs.
All right. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. And let me make sure I put Jeff's play up there so y'all don't think I'm hating or anything. But yeah, that's what we're doing there. I like that. I like that thinking, Jeff. I like it a lot. I think that that's something that can work out very well for the people. I think we meet in the middle right there. I don't trust Carolina to win. You don't trust the Giants to win, but you trust them to cover. I don't trust the Panthers to cover. You don't trust the Giants to win. It's that I'm sorry. I mixed that up a little bit, but it's all good, and we move forward with that. And let's go ahead and talk about our next spot that we have here, and this is going to be probably the game of the weekend. This is going to be the Bengals and the Ravens. And let me tell you guys something. I know a lot of you guys are jumping on the Bengals bandwagon now, but let me tell you somebody I know that's been with the Bengals since day one, and it's the guy sitting to the right of me, Mr. Jeff Dawson, the Don of Cape Cod, who called out Joe Burrow be picking up where he left off at, and the addition of Jamar Chase coming in. Jeff had no worries about Chase like the rest of you guys because we both understand that it's preseason. And you know what? The guy has a lot of pressure on him because they are saying, oh, he's a TO type. He's a Moss type. And then you go into practice and you're dropping everything in preseason games because the reason being it's called a preseason game for a reason. What him and Joe Burrow do is they work every day after practice to make sure that they have the rhythm in place. And they weren't even running their regular plays. They were running plays that get to know the league plays. Now they're running plays for Jamar that are simplified in the most simplest routes, taking advantage of his pure skills, and that's why they're playing such good football, and that's why they're becoming one of the better duos in the NFL, Burrow and Chase, with their 1-2 punch and everything like that. Then when you got great teammates like Higgins as well too, who's a very good teammate. You got Joe Mixon, who's a phenom. A lot of people have to understand Joe Mixon, if he doesn't knock the girl out in the club, he's a number 1 draft pick. Everybody knew that Joe Mixon was a weapon. Joe Mixon was a big time recruit at Oklahoma, one of their highest rated recruits ever. And Joe Mixon was absolutely just, he was a step below AP. You know, once you touch the ball, this guy's gone. You know what I mean? And Joe Mixon's just bringing that type of swagger to the NFL, and he's another top talented player that the Bengals were fortunate to get because of circumstances. And that's why the Bengals are playing really good football this year, because the Bengals give talented players second chance, or they don't throw you away like other teams would do, or just go with the news, what the media is going to say. And Cincinnati has thrived because of this. I thought that they had a pretty bad head coach, to be honest with you. I thought he was terrible, to be dead honest with you, Jeff. I didn't think Zach Taylor was a good coach. I felt that he was the one that was he was just collecting a check every week. But no, they're doing something here. They're doing something very creative here, and it's fun to watch. But at the end of the day, the way that the Ravens are blocking, and the way that the Ravens are in unison, the Ravens play with a chip on their shoulder. And they're not going to overlook the Bengals, just like they didn't overlook the Chargers. So it's going to be hard for me to take the Bengals this week, because this is a prove it to me game. You know what I mean? Are you good? Are you really good? Because we've seen how you looked against 2 other teams that are top tier teams, and you didn't look that good. Well, the Bears aren't top tier, but the Bears have a good defense. We'll give them that. But you didn't look good against the team. You didn't look great against the team that you were supposed to look real good against, you know. And I'm trying to think, what was their other loss here, Jeff?
They lost to the Bears. They beat Minnesota in overtime.
Right.
The Bears. They just beat the Lions. Having a brain cramp here.
I'm looking it up now. I'm having a brain cramp too.
The Bears game sticks out to me because it was on the road. They were 3-point underdogs, and he threw 3 straight interceptions, and they were getting killed early. They made a late rally and came up short. Who's the other one?
They lost to Green Bay.
Okay.
Yep, they lost to Green Bay.
That was in overtime, right? At home.
Right. So
that was the one they had 2 opportunities. Actually, that was the one Mason Crosby missed like 4 field goals. But Cincinnati had the ball in OT to win the game, and the field goal kicker missed it there as well. Thank you, Eric.
Don't mind me. I'm back on my laptop. So pretty much, yeah, that was kind of inconvenient a little bit, but it is what it is. And Jeff, I knew you couldn't hear me because I had to put it on mute so we didn't double gang the witch call. But thanks, Eric, once again for doing that for us, brother. I do appreciate that. That's why I like fan participation. Sometimes when we ask this question, we want you guys to be our stat boy and give us the answer. But I'm going to do this, Jeff. I'm taking the Ravens here. I just cannot deny the Ravens. The Ravens are playing good football. And when they have to play games like this against the teams that are in a game of the week situation like last week, they step up and they step up huge in these spots. So it's not hard to take the Ravens for me. And I know that Jeff is going to rock with the Bengals this week as well, too. And let me fix that. Jeff is taking the 7.5 with the Bengals as well, too, this week. So he's buying the hook to get the 7.5 with this team, right? So you bought the hook, right? 7.5, or you just bought the hook for 7?
What'd you get for a line? 6.5?
Yeah.
All right, so we bought the hook to a flat 7. That's fine.
Okay, you took a flat 7. I put 7.5. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the key to this game is very simple. In a couple phases, which Joe Burrow shows up. In other words, he had that brain fart in the Bears game. You can't do that in Baltimore. Baltimore's absolutely rolling right now. They got a chip on their shoulder. The Bengals D actually has been pretty good. I don't think you can go in there expecting to score 24, 27 points and beat Lamar the way they're rolling. I think you got to establish Mixon. I think you got to take your shots with Jamar Chase. And the one guy I really feel for right now is T. Higgins. T. Higgins was his guy. And then, of course, they drafted Chase. But when T got hurt, now he's just leaning more on Chase. As the Bengals proceed through this season, you're going to see a lot more of T. Higgins. So I like this spot. I'm not saying that Baltimore's going to let down. The numbers say 27-20. That's what the numbers say right now. We're hoping that Joe can get to 23, maybe even 24. Win the turnover battle, okay? Do not throw 2 or 3 picks. If you do, this game could get ugly. But we believe in Joe. We believe in T. We believe in Chase. Bengals +7 is where we're going, Pops.
All right. So y'all heard Jeff. That's where he's going with this one. He's going with the Bengals. I'm going to go ahead and rock with the Ravens, and this is going to be a very good AFC North game. This isn't going to decide the division, but this is going to show us that are the Bengals are the Bengals real, or the Ravens are still those guys in the division? You know what I mean? Because we know that Pittsburgh is going to probably not be around this year to be in the thick of things, and Cleveland with their situation now, you don't know what team they're going to be in the next coming weeks as well, too. So you deal with the kind of a situation where, you know, the Ravens are still the top dog, but here comes the Bengals. And the Bengals should feel good about this because they're a little bit ahead of schedule. I thought it was going to take about 2 years for them to fix it. I said, I would think that they will win more than 2 or 3 games this year, probably about 5 or 6. But they're absolutely destroying those, those expectations. You know what I mean? They're going above and beyond. I still don't see them as a playoff team, though, Jeff. I don't. I know you like them, but I think that they're still a ways away from that. But let me go ahead and jump into this. This is going to be the Cardinals and the Texans. The Cardinals and the Texans present a very peculiar game, in my opinion, Jeff, because you got a team here in the Texans that are playing awful football, and I guess that not awful, but they're just not talented enough to keep up with the other teams at a consistent pace throughout the whole game at this point. You know what I mean? They just really don't have it, in my opinion. But that just comes because you guys already made up your mind that you weren't going to be a really good team this season. You're waiting on the draft. You know what I mean? You're waiting to draft your next franchise quarterback because you're about to get rid of your recent franchise quarterback. Texans just way too much confusion going on this season, but they keep giving us lines to we have to take them seriously, Jeff. You know what I mean? So I think that this week, I think that we can finally get it right here with the Texans, and I think the plus 17 should work because the Cardinals are going to absolutely overlook this game. They'll probably come out and even be down a touchdown or two before they even get themselves started, because this is what this game is setting up to be. This is a late game as well, too, Jeff. So I like the Texans plus 17, but it's tough to take them in this spot. But I know that this team still has a winning record when it comes to against the spread this season. So, but the only problem is that they've been blown out by double digits at least 4 times in those 5 losses as well, too. So, I know I'm gambling right here, but I wouldn't feel right if I didn't take a 17-0 lead to start the game off. It's just that simple. If you give me 17, see, that's what people have to understand. This is my last point, and I'm going to let you go with yours. When you have 7 points to start off a game, you have to think with the mentality that I'm up 7-zip already. A lot of people don't think like that when they're betting dogs. You know what I mean? With the points, they just think that, okay, I hope that they cover the 10. No, you have to put your mentality in. I'm up 10 points. They score a touchdown. I'm up 17 now. I'm not playing. I'm up 17-zip. Oh, I'm up 10 now, 17-7. I'm in a good spot right now. I'm right where I want to be at. But once you start getting into the 17-14 and you got a 10 points, now, pretty much 17-14 now, I'm still ahead by 3. That's the mentality that you have to think with. And that's when you win with the dog as well, too. When you think with that mentality, when you play in the points on that situation as well, too, in my opinion. And when you play the money line as a reward, a big money line, not a little one.
I have history way back in the day. The final 33 out of 800 plus people suicide pick each week. Pick a winner and move on. Can't pick them again. And the Pittsburgh Steelers were 18-point favorites against, I think it was the Houston Oilers back then. And they outrushed them, outgained them 433-100, and they lost the game. So the computer model has this at 14.5. The number is 17.5. Currently 18 at South Point, William Hill, Circa, Caesars win. They're just piling on. Now the point here is if you do the basic math, they got it right around that 31-14 final. Okay, so can the Texans get to 17? Can they get to 20? If the Cardinals are focused, they win this game 34-7, 34-10, if they're focused. But again, like you, we bought the hook just in case it landed on 17. We're taking the Texans plus the 17 and a hook. That means this: if they're down by 24 or less with the ball on the final drive, we got a chance to cover and cash a ticket. Do we believe in the Texans? No. But as Pop said, and he said it correctly, this is the NFL, which stands for any given Sunday. Okay, I've seen it happen. Will it happen? Most likely not. But Arizona put all their eggs in their basket at the Browns to make sure they left undefeated, the number 1 ranked team in football. This is an easy look-ahead game. So let's go Texans plus 17 and a hook. Let's have some fun.
All right, and you guys heard my man. So pretty much with that, we're going to go ahead and take another commercial break. And when we get back, we'll go ahead and we'll break down some more, the rest of the late game schedule. And then we'll go from there because we do have some pretty good, we got some real even games with Monday night and Sunday night football as well too. But we'll go over these last 3 late games before we jump into that category. So you guys, we'll be with you. We'll be back in 2 and 2, as they used to like to say on Jeopardy. So you guys stay tuned. This is the NFL Bet Exchange.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune into Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right. We are here, and let's go ahead and jump into this next one, Jeff. This one's going to be a good one. This is going to be the Bears and the Bucs, and this is the game where you get caught slipping, Jeff, to be honest with you. When you look at this one, it really is the game that you can get caught slipping in because you have a Bears team that knows exactly what they got to do. They got to play great sound defense, and they just need 20 points from their guy to even over 20 points. The Bears are in good shape because when they can see that their offense is scoring, the defense steps it up that much more. But this defense at the same time, too, is a defense that can absolutely get their neck broken in the game as well, too. We saw that the first week of the season. We saw that during the preseason against Buffalo when they played the better offenses in the league. Now, if you can get a big game out of Khalil Mack, then I think that things can work out in a great way for the Bears. You know what I mean? If you can get Khalil Mack going, Rob Quinn going, and try to get to the old man. You know what I mean? Because that's what I'm gonna start calling Brady, the old man. You know what I mean? The wise one. They want it's the Abbott. You know what I mean? All the things that people think are great, Tom Brady. Okay. So if they can get pressure on Brady and make Brady overthink this thing a little bit, the Bears got an opportunity to go to Tampa and get a monster upset. Does that happen, though? I'm not really betting on that part, but I am going to go ahead and bet on this, though. And I know that this is pretty obvious, but I'm taking the 12.5 on the Bears, Jeff. I got to. I think that this is the type of game that sets up for the rookie to where he can possibly shine a little bit because he's not going against one of the best passing defenses in the league. And I just think that it's going to be a oversell and overbet on the Bucs, who aren't even that good at covering the spread this year. They're actually 2-4 when it comes to covering the spread. So give me the Bears at 12.5. I don't care. I think that they lose by 10 or less. Thoughts?
Numbers say 30-17. Can Justin get 20? Can he get 21? They're not going to be able to run the ball. They don't have Montgomery. That's okay. They get one of the Williams brothers back there. A ghost this year, Allen Robinson. If you remember how the Bucs got picked apart by the Rams, it was Cooper Kupp 17 yards out to the left, out to the right. You need Allen Robinson here, Justin. You got Mooney who's coming on. He's your buddy there. Okay. So the thought is simple here. Okay. Get yourself to 20, 21, have the defense play, lights out. The Bucs are going to score. And the other little nugget here is the Bucs travel to the Saints next week. So I'm not saying Tom's looking ahead, but I am saying some of the other Bucs could be looking ahead here, saying, it's the Bears, it's Justin Fields, rookie quarterback. We're going to land base them. No. So we bought the hook. We got it up to 13. We're hoping Justin can get us to 20 or 21. And I think we got a great shot to cover there, pups.
And you know what? If I'm the Bears, I'm ready to hurt Tom Brady because he wanted to follow up on what Aaron Rodgers did at the end of the game last week, and say that he owns I guess he wanted to say he owns the Bears as well too. So I don't know if you need to do that, Tom, at 43 years of age, and you got guys like Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn pass rushing that can easily go ahead and cut the lights out, because Brady is great, but we know he's not indestructible either. He just loves the game a lot. That's all it is with Brady. But we move forward. I don't wish violence upon anybody, though, either. So just know that part as well, too. But just know that trash talk can get you hurt in this league. It can, because guys use that as motivation as well, too. All right, so we got the Eagles at the Raiders. This is a matchup of Super Bowl from way back when. Jeff remembers this one. This one was, I think this one wound up, that Super Bowl. I wasn't around yet. I was still I wasn't around yet. I wasn't on the earth yet. So pretty much from what I gathered, that the Eagles were the slight favorite here, and a lot of people were having their heart with the Eagles in this matchup when that happened in the Super Bowl. But the people who knew football real well knew that the Raiders had a way more talented team, and the Raiders were like barbarians at that point too. When they come through, they're gonna pillage, they're gonna destroy everything, and they're gonna take your women and they're gonna leave. And that's exactly what the Raiders did that day in New Orleans. But that was years ago. This would have been a big Gruden comeback game. It would have been a big hype around Gruden because this is where Gruden started his career at, was in Philadelphia. And this is where the Raiders found him at, was in Philadelphia. He's the offensive coordinator, all that good stuff. But Gruden's not a part of the situation anymore. So now we got a Raiders team that's 4-2. Are they ascending yet, or are they just beating up on bad teams? Do you have an Eagles team that's going to get it together this week and get back to the kind of the preseason hype that they had to kind of stay up with the Cowboys just a tad bit? But we both know that literally everybody in the East is going to be below 500 but the Cowboys this year. Let's just be honest about that part. But the Eagles do pose a very tough game for the Raiders, because you can't think that the Raiders – no game for the Raiders is a cinch, not one of them. Even if they played the Texans this week, you got to kind of have your thoughts like, where would the Raiders mess this thing up at? You know what I mean? And that's the same thoughts that you get when you look at this Philadelphia game. Where are the Raiders going to mess up at in this spot this week? Because it's going to happen. It's just, when does it happen? Does it happen when they're up, or does it happen when they're down? And I think that this game goes the distance, to be honest with you. And it's tough to take the Raiders on the spread this week, but I am going to take the Raiders to win the game straight up. But this is going to be a game that's tougher than it looks on the paper, because people have to understand the Eagles are not that far apart from the Raiders in stats. It's just that maybe they might be, pretty much spots behind them. But when it comes to the actual numbers, they're not that far apart. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But I do like the Raiders in this game to go to 5-2 and possibly be ahead of the Chargers in the AFC West if everything works out, because the Chargers have the week off. Your thoughts?
Tough game. Eagles, Jekyll and Hyde. I hate the head coach. I hate the offensive coordinator, but we always find ourselves going back to them. I think it's a perfect spot. Listen, the Raiders handled their business with the Gruden distraction, and they took care of the Broncos last week. They come back home feeling good. Their 2 home games that I remember was an overtime win against Baltimore and an overtime win against the Dolphins. I'm going Jekyll and Hyde here. The computer model says 2.5. I'm saying I don't need them. Eagles plus 140, money line, book it. We're going with Miles Sanders, Jalen Reagor, Devontae Smith, and look for the offense, the defensive line to put some pressure on Carr. And I think this is a good upset possibility here for the Eagles.
All right. We move on to our next game, and this one is probably the day game of the week. I mean, the late game of the week. 0-6 Lions coming to LA. Rams 5-1 right now, or 4-1. They were off last week. Sorry about that. Lions, here goes some advice. I'm in LA too. I'm gonna give you some good places to go to because you're not gonna win this game Sunday. We know that, but you could keep it close. But make sure Jared Goff takes you guys over to Ocean Prime in Beverly Hills and makes you feel like some superstars real quick. You know, Lions probably the only team I know that can walk into a fancy restaurant. You probably won't know that they're on the Detroit Lions, to be honest with you. You probably will only know who Goff is. So you guys go over there to Ocean Prime Saturday night before the game, have a good team meal, and then for some entertainment, you guys go over to Sam's Hop, bro. And I'm not going to go over further on what Sam's is, but Jeff, if you should know, it's a gentleman's club. Take the boys over to Sam's after your big dinner and just go into the game and play like the 1969 and 67 Packers did when they played in the first or second Super Bowl, all hung over and stuff. Maybe you might have a chance to be within 7 points. I kid. Okay, this game right here is the most dangerous game for the Rams simply because this guy right here, Jared Goff, knows the exact weaknesses of this defense, and he can key in on that stuff just like he used to when he was on the team in training camp. Okay? And as long as he's not overcoached by the system, that's what I'm going to call Detroit, the system, because there are a handful of coaches on that side. You know what I mean? I don't think that Campbell is just the one in charge. You got different situations going on with that. I would say that if once they fire Campbell this year, you got to put Aaron Glenn in as the interim head coach because it seems like they respect him way more than they respect the actual head coach from what I've been seeing. But I think that this happens, Jeff. I think the Lions come in here. They don't win the game, as I said before, but Jared Goff makes this a game. He's going to make the Rams pay just a little bit for what they did to him. You know what I mean? He went from Hollywood to the NFL version of Siberia. You know what I mean? Literally. Snap of the finger. I go from sugar to absolute manure. And I think that he's going to have to show off a little bit with Mr. McVay and tell Mr. McVay that, you know what? I still pull your girl from you. I to this day, I feel like that's the only reason why he's not on this team anymore is because he mentioned McVay's woman in a group text. And everybody can say what they say, but his stats were better than Matt Stafford's over the last 2-3 seasons, and he was in a Super Bowl. But it's all good. I'm not going to keep defending Jared Goff. Their situation, it is what it is. Stafford's playing great football right now. Goff is trying to stay. It's trying not to miss the rest of the season because he's getting killed week in and week out, and he has to deal with inefficient play callers. It is what it is. Hopefully, they'll get the guy a better situation very, very soon. But Lions plus 15.5, Jeff. Rant done.
I'd like to say again, Goff's revenge game, Stafford's revenge game. Computer model says 13 and a hook, 49 and a hook. I mean, basic math again. I mean, can the Lions get to 17? If that's the case, they think that the Rams are going to get to 33. So with that being said, again, these big totals, to be honest, when I'm breaking down these boards, when I see these big totals, I just scratch them up because they're useless. They do come in. They do. We do know that. So one of these big totals this week's going to cover, hands
Right.
down, and they're going to put the scare of God with a chance to win the game. We took the Lions plus 15.5. We're a glutton for punishment. This team just is snake bit. And they know how to play competitive games. They just don't know how to win. It doesn't matter who the head coach is. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. I do know Campbell did throw Goff under the bus. He's in tears 1 week now. He throws Goff under the bus. So expect a sharp Goff. Expect the team to compete. I like the 15.5, and I just hope they keep it close.
Right. And you know what? Campbell can't throw nobody up under the bus, to be honest with you. You cried at the press conference, boss. You know what I mean? You can't, there ain't no getting out of that. You cried at the press conference and didn't come back and win the next week. You got beat by almost 30 points. I'd have fired you straight up. But I think that Ford's wife is more compassionate than the rest of us. You know what I mean? And honestly, all of us just cannot wait to see the Detroit Lions get sold to this. The Ford family was great for them, but their time passed about 10 years ago with owning this team. You know what I mean? They're still going off. They don't get it. You know what I mean? But I thought that his wife did a great job when she kept Jim Caldwell in the picture and didn't fire him, but fired the GMs that were over him. And she should have just kept Caldwell as a coach because he was building something there as well, too. You know, but the media always wants people out, right, Jeff?
That's right.
They always want somebody out of a job. So, you know, but come to their job and say you want them out of the job, they'll be defending their places as strong as possible. But with that, we're going to take another quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with the final two games of the week.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, so we got Jeff's favorite game, the quicksand game. Sunday Night Football. And guess where we're going to Sunday Night Football as well, too, Jeff? You know what time it is. I haven't said it one time since we started the show. But this week, the dog bet of the week is here. It's here, y'all. Dog bet of the week. Don't think that we're not going to have our dog bet of the week. And I'm gambling right here, boy. I know I'm gambling. But give me the plus 165 on the Colts to win this game straight up. 49ers coming off of a bye week. Colts are coming off of a confidence booster and beating Houston, in my opinion, because they could have easily went in there and had a close game with Houston, but they didn't. Because I would feel like straight boo hooky after what happened in the Baltimore game. That team picked itself up, didn't feel sorry for itself, went out there, crushed on the Titans real quick. Crushed on the Texans real quick. I think that Jeff told you guys a few weeks ago when we went through the schedule, this team was playing the toughest teams in the NFL at that point. You know, you got Seattle opening day. That's a tough game. You got the Rams coming the next week. Yeah, you open up two home games, but you got two of the better NFC teams coming in there to play you. So those games didn't work out for them, but they kept the Rams game close, and they were somewhat in the Seahawks game for at least 3.5 quarters until the silly turnovers kind of messed them up. Then they played a close one with the Titans as well, too, in Tennessee. So you have to factor in that this team is not as bad as they try to perceive them to be. You know, this team is the same team that last year went 11-5, but seriously only lost 3 games. They lost to one team twice. So they have Carson Wentz, who's in his reason why a lot of people don't understand why the Colts haven't moved the way that they're supposed to move. Carson Wentz is now being reinvigorated in a sense. His confidence is coming back. He lost his confidence in Philly. Now his confidence is coming back. You got Pittman, who's one of the most underrated receivers in the league. He's like the second coming of Keenan Allen. A lot of people have to understand that Keenan Allen didn't get a lot of love the first few years either, but he was still killing it. You know what I mean? And I think that the Colts' momentum and the way they played the last few weeks of the season gives me every indication that they can pull off the same type of upset that the Dolphins pulled off last year in Santa Clara when nobody saw them coming that day. Remember, Jeff? They were 8-point favorite, the Niners. Everybody had this idea that the Dolphins, are kind of inept offensively, but they went out there and they absolutely crushed the 49ers when nobody saw it coming in. This is how this game is building up to me. What are your thoughts?
I agree with everything you're saying. I've been a pretty big Colts backer. I thought the first 5 games would tell a lot, and now they're getting into the meat of their schedule where they should start flexing their muscles. The computer model has it at 5.5, 44 and a hook. I mean, it's saying 24-20. Is it Jimmy G supposed to start? What I'm really banking on is Shanahan off a bye week. Do we see a lot more Trey Lance plays for Trey Lance? Do we see Trey Sermon evolve? Debo's been Debo. Do they get Ayuk more involved? All of this is, I'm kind of sort of betting on the come here. I'm going to take the home team coming off the bye week with Jimmy G coming back. Expect Sermon to start to emerge there. Expect a little more trickery with Trey Lance. I got the, I have the 49ers minus the 4 here. I like this, but again, a loss. They're 2-3. This season's on the line. Same with the Colts. So I agree with everything you're saying. It's going to be a hell of a game. I'm actually looking forward to this game, Pops.
Well, we're going to have some fun, man. And again, for the second year in a row, Carson Wentz and Jimmy G on Sunday Night Football. Last year, Philly played them and beat them in the same type of situation, Jeff. Team that ain't nobody taking seriously. They got a couple good. And I'm telling you, if a team starts off with a great drive on Sunday Night Football, they're going to be in that game, the whole game. And so you have to understand that part as well, too. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our final game of the week, and that's going to be Monday Night Football. Are you ready for somebody? You got the nachos and the wings and all that good stuff. Well, I don't think – everybody got to understand, you don't do the same thing for Monday Night Football games. It's the day that you actually act civilized and things of that nature. You just can't be waking up with a hangover going to your job the next day, just simply because, it was football. It was a football game, even though people do, I mean? That's one of the bar's biggest nights right there during football season, Monday Night Football, especially if it's a team that has a big fan base. I love it too. Jeff knows what I'm talking about when all these fans get together for these games and everything at these bars and all these places and stuff, and just how ridiculous they can get about their team and literally acting as if they're getting a check from the team as well too for rooting for them. I'm tired of seeing fans fighting over these teams because they're not going to have the bail money ready for you at the end of the night, okay? They don't care about you as much as you care about them, okay? All right, so we got the Saints at the Seahawks. This game will be much, much different if we had Russell Wilson playing. But you know what, though? I would think that the Seahawks will be an oversell in that spot because people have to understand the one team that I've seen Jameis Winston carve up, but maybe fall short against, is the Seattle Seahawks. Jeff knows what I'm talking about too. 27-0 to start a game off first half. They blew the game, lost 28-27, but Jameis had himself a ball. And I think they played another time, and Tampa actually won that timeout. So this time around, you got Jameis. Jameis is going to be an overbet like he was a few weeks back, you know what I mean, when they lost to the Panthers, and then laid an egg in another spot as well, too, against a team that they were supposed to beat called the New York Giants. So, pretty much got the Saquon Barkley highlight reel run in that game. How do they get back from that? They got a good win over Washington last time out. They've had a bye. But can we trust this team to be a consistent team every week, Jeff? And since they got the bye week, maybe they missed the bad week and they can be good this week. But I'm not going to take my eyes off the Seahawks. Geno Smith isn't having a revenge tour or anything like that, but he is proving to us that he is a good, decent backup quarterback. You know what I mean? And you need that in this league, is a good backup quarterback. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Seahawks with the +4.5 just because how well they play on national television. I know that they had just dropped that last game against the Rams where they had won, I think, 9 in a row on national television. So they're trying to start a new streak, even though they've dropped both of their national TV games. Here goes the third time out. They're going to be at Seattle, and this could be one of those ESPN nights where Geno Smith has a good night, and they just have this love fest about Geno. So I'm taking the +4.5 as the insurance that the Seahawks will cover in this game and possibly win the game. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
I have a hard time grasping this game because the Saints have been an odd week win and an even week loss. You got the bye week. What I don't understand is this: Vegas was giving you Seattle +5 on Sunday night, and they got crushed in the first half. They ended up losing in OT and covered, though. That's all that matters here, is covering tickets, cashing tickets. But yet now they're back at home with the 12th man, and yet they're also getting 5. The number makes no sense to me. The model says 3. The number says 23-20. Does Jameis get to 24? Do they get to 27 is the key here. Who wins the turnover battle? Who throws more picks? If we had a crystal ball and knew that Winston threw 3 picks and Geno threw none, I'd be all over the Seahawks without a doubt. I agree with everything you say here. Again, it's a game 3-2 versus 2-4. Seattle's season's on the line here. Russ is a quick healer too. Pull off a win, get to 3-4, and then who knows? Maybe Russ is back in 2 weeks. And then the Saints, 3-2, win this week. They're 4-2, and then they're hosting the Bucs the following week. Tough spot. I'm going to take Sean Payton coming off a bye week with the better defense, hopefully with a quarterback that throws touchdowns, not picks. Do I like it? No. Do I think they can cover the 4? Yeah, we bought the hook. Saints -4. It's a coin flip, Pops. Whatever quarterback throws the least interceptions will win this game.
And there it is. There it is. All right. So pretty much, once again, this was a great show. We are in week 7 now. We are rolling. When we get to week 8, we'll be at the halfway point of this season as well, too, because we still think of it in the 16-week format, even though we got the 17th game now. But still, it is considerably the end of the first half of the season. And if you were a bad team in the first half of the season, but you still have, say, a 2-4, 3-3 record, then you pretty much are at the crossroads right now. But if for the teams that have 1 win, no wins on the season, you're pretty much getting yourself prepared for the draft. So we know that where these teams are going to go, but the NFL is highly competitive every single week. So you have to be ready for that. And that's why you choose us, because we know what the hell we're talking about at the end of the day. And pretty much, once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Any final thoughts, Mr. Dawson?
We're at the halfway point, guys. That means we want you here for another 8 weeks plus, okay? If you struggled early, it's okay. Sunday's a new day, okay? Check your bankroll. If you're feeling a little squirrely and you're on every extra point, you're on every pick six, every missed extra point, back off the gas. It's okay. We want you here till the end of the season. And then come January, the playoffs, and then it's March Madness time. So listen, take a look at the bankroll, look straight in the mirror, say, hey, I'm a little squirrely. Take a little off the gas. Enjoy the games. Have some fun. It's okay. So we'll be here next week, the week after, and the week after that. So enjoy Sunday. Have some fun with it, and we will see you next week.
Yes, sir. And also for all my people that watch, and for all the people that watch the Primetime Angles, we're going to be off today because this kind of went over a little bit, but it's okay. We'll still have talking tickets for you as well, and that's what I know what pretty much everybody's waiting for anyway. So we'll have talking tickets ready for you today. We got a lot of stuff going on, Jeff. We got this CFB, we got NBA, we got baseball, and we got an NFL game. And I don't do hockey, but for all my hockey people, there's a hockey game. So we got 5 different sports to deal with tonight. Pick your poison. That's all I got to say. And with that, we'll be back next week for week 8. You guys make sure, if you're watching the show, retweet, share, do whatever you got to do so we can get these views up to the maximum level, okay? Because if you love the show, your family members should love the show too. All right. So with that, I thank you guys so much. I am Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and this is my partner, my brother, the one and only Don of Cape Cod himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson, and this is the NFL Bet Exchange, and we bid adieu. You guys have a beautiful weekend.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFL Bet Exchange, where the sharpest bets are laid. This show was produced by the Prime Wave Media Group.